to meet the press. And of course, what was it? I know there was a whoops a daisy. Let me go ahead and bring that one back for you guys. But what was it here? I know Lindsey Graham, James Comey, they was on Meet the Press. So let's get into that one. There it is.
This Sunday, trade-offs. President Trump meets Chinese President Xi Jinping in a high-stakes summit with trade, security, and the future of the world's two largest economies.
Hey, welcome to the Kick Chat, Gray Seal. And you know what, guys? I'm going to mainly do just like I said, get you guys over to Kick. If you ask questions on Kick, I'll be more likely to answer them just so, we can start promoting Kick more.
On the line.
You're a great leader. Sometimes people don't like me saying it, but I say it anyway because it's true. I only say the truth.
As China expands its global power, what did the president actually gain? Plus, cost crisis. The economic fallout from the war with Iran is hitting home as inflation climbs to a 3-year high. And the issue of
3.8%, guys. And think about it, we was at 2.4, guys. Remember what I'm about to tell you, 2.4% before this war. Now we're at 3.8.
Comes a midterm flashpoint.
I don't think about American financial situation. I don't think about anybody. I think about one thing. We cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon.
Donald Trump and Republicans don't give a damn.
Short-term pain. It's going to be short-term pain. But the pain is much less than people thought.
Are Americans paying the price? My guest this morning, Republican Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina and Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland. And legal pressure.
He's a dirty cop. He's a crooked man.
Former FBI Director James Comey joins us exclusively as he faces a second indictment from the Trump administration. Joining me for insight and analysis are NBC News Chief Capitol Hill correspondent Brian Nobles, Adrian Elrod, former...
All right, we don't care about them.
From NBC News in Washington, the longest-running show in television history, this is Meet the Press with Kristen Welker.
Good Sunday morning. Overnight, the latest target of President Trump's retribution campaign going down in defeat. Two-term Louisiana Republican Senator Bill Cassidy losing his bid for re-election to a Trump-backed challenger who advances to a runoff. This after Senator Cassidy voted to convict Mr. Trump in his impeachment trial during the first term. We'll have much more.
Man, Trump always gets his get back, guys. I mean, remember that. Always gets his get back.
More on that coming up. But first, the president returned to Washington after his 2-day summit in Beijing with Chinese President Xi Jinping. In his historic meeting, the president said strengthened ties between the two nations, but which did not produce a major agreement on trade or a commitment from China to help end the war with Iran.
Did President Xi make any firm commitment to put pressure on the Iranians to reopen the Strait of Hormuz?
I'm not asking for any favors, because when you ask for favors, you have to do favors in return. We don't need favors.
Yep.
Meanwhile, tensions intensifying in the Middle East.
AKA, if we ask a favor from China, then China's gonna say, "Oh, look, we'll get it done, but you're gonna have to give Iran a concession as well." And we ain't trying to do that. Like I said, we're meeting them with maximalist demands for a reason now. And if you don't know the demands here, we can go over them real quick. Let's go over these demands. So here it is. So here's U.S. demands from Iran. You get zero compensation. We ain't giving you nothing for bombing y'all civilian infrastructure. You get nothing whatsoever. Then you got to hand over 400 kilograms of enriched uranium. Only one nuclear facility allowed, not the 3 or 4, maybe like 6 y'all guys got out there. No frozen assets released. So all that money we snatched through sanctions, you ain't getting none of that back. And ceasefire only if talks go well. So if they're conditional, if you bend the knee and kiss our feet and give us everything we want, then we will allow ceasefires to go on. Now here's Iran's demands. Full ceasefire everywhere, including Lebanon. So that includes Israel. You're going to stop your fight with Hezbollah. You're going to stop your fight with Hamas as well. All sanctions lifted, aka we want all of our money back. All the money you held up in your banks, Qatari banks, UAE banks, we want that all back. All right. and frozen assets, frozen assets release. So yeah, you're gonna have to do the same thing that Obama did and send us a jet full of pallets of money. Except they're gonna be bigger pallets of money because we want you to let go a lot more than Obama did. And war damages paid. We want those reparations. We deserve those reparations. We did bomb schoolgirls, but it is what it is. And U.S. recognizes Iran's control over the Strait of Hormuz. And I already know it's like, bro, ain't no way. I'm sorry, but that's a very hard axe right there. That's probably the first thing Trump read and said, yeah, throw this in the trash. I don't even want to know what they said after that. If they started off that letter with U.S. will recognize Iran's control of the Strait of Hormuz, I could see Trump just being like, yeah, get this shit out my face. Get it out my face, bro, before I go off. But all right, guys, let's get back to it. Now that you have an understanding of the maximalist demands of both sides. And don't forget to like the video and support the channel as well.
A fragile ceasefire still holding, but the Strait of Hormuz remains closed, and major questions remain about what comes next. Here at home, the economic impact of the war is putting new pressure on American households, with inflation hitting a
Now, that's extremely fair, and I'm shout out Jet on Kick. Make sure you follow me on Kick, guys. But no, that's extremely fair though. For voting to impeach Trump, I'm just like, yeah, bro, you kind of should have seen that one coming. Any Republican that turned against Trump during that moment right there, yeah, I mean, it is somewhat fair. Because they were trying to impeach him on bullshit reasons that these Republicans followed along on. So that is somewhat fair. But the fact that he could just put money into these guys and get them like knocked out of their seat, not because of not because of bad policies or anything like that, but because they went against Trump, is a bit insane to me. I don't appreciate that.
3-year high this week, and gas prices remaining above $4.50 a gallon. President Trump making this striking admission earlier in the week.
When you're negotiating with Iran, Mr. President, to what extent are Americans' financial situations motivating you to make a deal?
Not even a little bit. The only thing that matters when I'm talking about Iran, they can't have a nuclear weapon. I don't think about Americans' financial situation. I don't think about anybody. I think about one thing. We cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. That's all.
And joining me now is
like, man, and it's so funny though. It reminds me of like, what was it? It was like a Boondock scene that I remember where this guy was pretty much saying, you know what, man, I'm going to frame this like Trump in a way. So it's like, you know what, man, I don't care that Americans are going through these high prices, man. I don't care that fertilizer's getting out of control. I don't even care about inflation. Iran can't have a nuke. So when Americans want to sit there and complain about they broke ass, empty ass wallets, I just don't give a fuck. Like, yeah, it was something like that. If you watch the Boondocks, you know what I'm talking about. But that's kind of what Trump kind of hit us with.
Republican Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina. Senator Graham, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here after an historic week.
Yeah.
Let's start right there with the president's summit in China. One of the biggest issues discussed was Taiwan. Just for our viewers, it's a self-ruling democracy that China has vowed to control. Now, Congress voted to approve billions of dollars in arms sales to defend the island. But in an interview after the summit, President Trump would not commit to supporting Taiwan. I want to play you a little bit of what he had to say.
You're waiting on approving billions.
Because it would make us look like idiots. Like, really think about this, guys. If we was to go out there and go balls to the wall for Taiwan, if China wants to attack today, we look like idiots. One, we don't got the munitions for it. And all China got to do is just start arming Iran with better weapons to have us tied up with Iran while they take over Taiwan. Like, strategically, we already lost.
Dollars of weapons for Taiwan.
That's
Is that
I'm
moving forward?
Well, I haven't.
No, I ain't gonna lie though. Not what was it? What's her name? Christian Walker. She does have a very strong jaw.
Proved it yet. We're going to see what happens.
What are you looking for?
I may do it. I may not do it.
Yeah. What's your hinge point?
Well, I'm not going to say that, but I may do it. I may not do it.
Senator, can Taiwan be secure without?
No, let's be real, guys. Christian Walker and Harris Faulkner have like the strongest jaws in media. The strongest jaws in news media goes to Harris Faulkner and Christian Walker. Like, oh, come on now. Like, and if you don't know who that is, it's the black lady. It's the black lady with the strong jaw on Fox. Strongest jaw.
U.S. support.
Well, I think it's in our interest to make sure they can be secure. The country, for a long time, has a one China policy. Now, what does that mean? We don't recognize two Chinas. We recognize one China with two systems. It's been the policy of the United States to help provide military aid to Taiwan. We have economic integration with Taiwan. So I want to continue that policy. Strategic ambiguity. What would we do if China invaded Taiwan? Well, we have strategic ambiguity. Trump said, President Trump, it would be up to me and me alone. And he's right about that. What can I do as a member of Congress? We'll be introducing with Senator Sullivan from Alaska hard-hitting pre-invasion sanctions that would put tariffs and sanctions on China if they did invade Taiwan. I want China to know, if you invade Taiwan, try to take Taiwan by force, here's what happens to your economy, the full weight and measure of—
Yeah, Lindsey, bro, that's not how it's gonna work. Because they're gonna look at us and be like, all right, well, we'll just keep the rare earth minerals from you guys, and your economy is gonna be destroyed. You can sit here and say, look, we'll just like put a complete embargo on all your products, your economy will be destroyed. Well, they could pull the same levers as well. Like they can still destroy our economy the same way we can destroy theirs. It's like a mutual destruction. So when it comes to economic levers, we don't have any cards to play on that.
Of sanctions and tariffs from the United States will kick in on day one. That's what I want to do to deter an invasion. As to the weapons sales, if the president decides not to approve the package, I'll leave that up to him, but I hope he will be able to tell the country by saying no to the weapons package, I got an agreement with China that makes Taiwan more secure. We'll see what happens.
You want him to send the weapons, though, and does he support the sanctions package you just talked about?
We haven't talked to him about it, but I think there'll be overwhelming support in Congress.
He'd be very foolish to accept that. I'm just gonna be real with you. He'd be very foolish to accept the sanctions package for China because what? They don't want to help us out with Iran. Like, or what? They might go after China after we done made the idiotic like move of going after Iran while having not enough munitions to protect both of these guys, to protect our assets in the region and to protect Taiwan. Like, come on now. Like, bro, we don't have the cards. We don't have the cards for that play, Lindsey. It's like you're being delusional.
To let China know, if we'd done this with Russia, if you invade Ukraine, here's what happens to you on day one. I don't think they would invade it. So
they still would have invaded Ukraine because they've been dealing with sanctions this entire time for years now. So you threatening sanctions wouldn't have did shit. And I hate this because I honestly do think that these guys are trying to destroy our dollar with these sanctions because they always want to go to sanctions, when all that does is build further distrust in our dollar and pushes these people towards, or these countries towards, the Brinks currency. So it irritates me when the first thing they go to is sanctions. When the sanctions don't even hurt the government, it hurts the people. But, oh, sanctions. Like, bro, quit with the bullshit already. It's not doing anything to the leadership that we truly want to affect. But it is turning the people against us. It is causing distrust in the American dollar and pushing people towards BRICS. So it's hurting us more than it's helping. And it does seem like everything Lindsey Graham wants only hurts Americans.
Make it clear to China, if you try to take Taiwan by force, here's what happens to your economy on day one. I'm hoping the administration would support that.
Appreciate you,
in terms of weapons sales, it's up to the president. I would encourage him to make Taiwan strong so we can deter aggression. If you give an inch on China, they'll take them on Taiwan. I think they'll take a mile, but we're not looking for war. We're not looking for conflict.
Bro, they could take a mile right now. We cannot do anything about it because we're too preoccupied with Iran. And I'm gonna keep saying this. We sacrificed stopping China from taking over Taiwan for war with Iran. It just is what it is. And this will be the perfect time for China to act on it. Not wait 4 or 5 years so we can rebuild our munitions, but go right now within the next 30 days, and we won't be able to do anything about it. And that's just a sad reality of where we're at right now.
I want to keep this.
Bro, we're literally hoping and praying on the goodwill of Xi. Like, bro, we're praying on the goodwill of that guy. We're in a fucked up position right now if that's the case.
Status quo.
Just to follow up on that point, President Trump warned other countries last year that when it comes to Iranian oil, quote, if you buy it, you're not doing any business with the United States. As you know, China buys 90% of Iran's oil. Are you disappointed that President Trump wasn't able to get China to stop buying Iranian oil during this summit?
Well, President Trump said, we don't need China. I'm not looking for a favor from China to help to end the Iranian conflict. But here's the soft underbelly of Iran. They're a fossil fuel economy. As to Russia, we're very close to sanctions being passed by the Congress that will allow the president to put tariffs and sanctions on the shadow fleet, and any country that buys cheap Russian oil to prop up Putin that doesn't help Ukraine can be tariffed. He put a 25% tariff on India, President Trump did, for buying Russian oil. There'll come a moment here where China is going to have to be held accountable for what they're doing.
Yeah, but we try to put sanctions on China, and they said F our sanctions. And then they said, look, we're going to punish any Chinese company that abide by American sanctions. So now even our sanctions are being ignored. So what cards do you really have?
And without China buying Iranian oil, their economy would collapse. So where are we with Iran? I think we've hit a wall when it comes to negotiations. Here's what the president said just a couple of days ago. Basically, I can say this with I'm not going to be much more patient. Any sane person would make a deal, but they might be crazy. The president's had it with moving the goalpost. You get a deal, the next day they wake up in the president's word. It's like we never had the conversation. So what happens next? I think we hit a wall on deal making. I would encourage the president look at reducing Iran's military capability even further. They've been dramatically weakened, but they're still.
No, they haven't. Still got 70% of their missiles, still got their Navy out there. I mean, they still got a air defense system. So what? I mean, no regime change in sight. So no, we've weakened Iran, but not as much as Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump have led you to believe. That's the problem. If you go off them, then we've decimated what, about 90% of their military, when we know that's not true whatsoever.
Targets that could weaken them more militarily. And I would also keep the embargo on to weaken their economy. And I'd let the Iranians know, if you keep terrorizing the region, Karg Island, which is your source of revenue, will be in play. I think that would be the smart next play.
No, that would be a very dumb play, because they can let us go onto Karg Island. They can just entrap all of our soldiers there through, well, missiles and drones. It's going to be like the Ukrainian battlefield, where people just getting hit with drones and they have nowhere else to go. Then let's also talk about how our ships and, helicopters and all that good stuff will even get close without getting shot down by Iranian missiles and drones. I'm sorry, but you guys are living in fantasy land when it comes to these operations. It's not going to be that easy. Like, literally, here's the thing. We should know that they're living in fantasy land, because they try to tell you that this war is going to end in 4 days to 2 weeks. Look where we're at.
You can't pursue a deal.
Oh, yeah, and shout out to Jet, because, no facts. Russia proved that sanctions don't work. They'll just find a way around them. North Korea proved that sanctions don't work. They'll just find a way around them. Iran proved that sanctions barely work. They'll just find a way around them.
More than the people on the other side want a deal.
Let me ask you, I just want to be very explicit. You are saying you think these negotiations have hit a wall.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you saying, Senator, that you think it's time for President Trump to resume military action against Iran?
I think you can't get a coherent answer from Iran, because they can't be coherent. I think they're so disheveled now. They're so weakened. They agree to things, and the next day they back up. President Trump's very frustrated. So what to do next?
They're so weakened, but they can sit here and send us maximalist demands. But they're so weakened, guys. And this is what I'm saying. It's like the delusional. It's like, so, and the propaganda is so lazy. Oh, because they're not doing what we want them to do, their leadership must be thrown in dysfunction. Or maybe we don't have all the cards, and maybe we didn't destroy the army like we've been preaching like we have. And that's why they're able to hold off on us like this. Not because their leadership's in disarray, but because we don't have all the cards that we claim to have.
I think it's going to be very difficult to get a deal with the current regime. Is there any evidence?
Yo, Luna, that is hilarious that you know what that is. She said, nah, she looks Max. She had to break that jaw in a little bit.
They've changed. I talked to the CIA director yesterday. Is there any evidence that the crowd in charge now is any less committed to destroying Israel, going after us, the great Satan, purifying Islam? I think the answer is no. So weaken them further, and you may get a deal later, but you're not going to get a deal with this crowd until you hurt them more.
So you're saying it sounds like you do
So cause more destruction in Iran, cause more civilian deaths in Iran, and just maybe, guys, and just maybe they won't rally around the flag harder than they already have, and they'll start to capitulate. Even though the reason why they're rallying around the flag is because of our aggression. But we think that if we add more aggression, it's just going to reverse that effect, though. Like, do you hear the line of thinking here?
support more military action at this point. Do you think that's something that will happen? Do you think it could happen in days, weeks, months?
I think the status quo is hurting us all. The longer the strait is closed, the more we try to pursue a deal that never happens, the stronger Iran gets. So my analysis is there's nothing to suggest that the people in charge now are any different in terms of the regime's goal to terrorize the world, destroy Israel, come after us. So what do you do next? You weaken them further.
Yeah.
Now, what President Trump has done has been amazing militarily, but there's still more targets to be had. And there's things we can do to hurt the energy infrastructure is their soft underbelly. If you go back to the fight, I'd put energy on top of the list.
So you're calling for strikes on the energy infrastructure, Senator?
I'm calling to hurt this regime. If you do,
which is okay. Here's the thing, guys, because a lot of people don't understand what the difference between a war crime and a military strike is when it comes to these, power plant and bridges, right? And this is what you got to take into account. If we blow up a bridge that's mainly used for civilian use, like, for people to get to their job, to run their e-commerce, to run their logistics, that's going to be seen as a war crime. If we bomb energy plants that are mainly used for to give power to civilians, that's going to be seen as a war crime. The difference is between a war crime and a military target if it has mainly military use, like us bombing a truck carrying missiles. That's mainly used for civilian use. But us bombing a truck that's carrying aid to the citizens, that's a war crime. Do you understand the difference? Like, there you go. One affects the military and one affects the people. But when it comes to these power plants and bridges, now we're talking about proportionality. Which side does it affect more? Because if it affects the people more, it's a war crime. If it affects the military more, then it's just a military asset, even though it does affect some civilians. It depends on who it affects more.
The same old thing you're gonna get.
Hey, shout out to my man. Shout out to my man Bill on Kick. Appreciate you for pulling up, my man. Like I said, guys, we're moving an exodus to Kick. Really the only free speech, well, that and Rumble, but it seems like Kick is taking over and all that good stuff, and they got a better interface right now. So shout out to Kick. Their emojis are a little bit better.
Same result. Hurt them more. Maybe they'll make a deal if you hurt them enough. But right now, I think they're trying to wait us out. I think they're playing games. And in the words of the president, I think they're crazy. I think he's right.
Senator,
nah, facts. That is hilarious. He's like, bro, like, Lizzie, figure out how to do that without fucking up the economy. Like that's the problem, too. It's like all their solutions involve the complete destruction of the economy and higher gas prices on us. Isn't it crazy how they're literally acting like they truly don't care what happens to the American people? They don't. And it's obvious on their planning. And the way they want to carry out this whole ordeal with Iran is that they really don't care what happens to us at all.
Goal of this, one of the key goals from President Trump, was to get their Iran's nuclear capabilities, to wipe that out. How does the United States retrieve Iran's nuclear material without sending in ground forces?
Well, hopefully you can do it diplomatically.
But don't you need to send in ground forces if you want to retrieve it, which is what we've heard Prime Minister
Netanyahu wants to get the nuclear dust. There's another way to do it, and I talked to him about it yesterday. Draw a circle around where we know it's at. Call it the circle of death. Anybody goes inside the circle is going to die until we can find a way to deal with this. The goal is to make sure they can't retrieve it. They can't make a dirty bomb. They can't further enrich. Their enrichment capability has been obliterated at least for a couple of years.
All right. Let me turn to the economy and the economic effects of the war, which are being felt here at home. Inflation has climbed to the highest annual rate in 3 years. Gas prices are at a 4-year high. Grocery prices are climbing. President Trump was pressed on how all of these factors impact how he views his negotiations with Iran. Take a look.
I don't think about Americans' financial situation. I don't think about anybody. I think about one thing. We cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. That's all.
But here's the thing, though, and this is going to sound effed up, but if you ask most American people, they understand that, yeah, Iran can have a nuclear weapon, but they also understand that, yo, I don't want to be paying $5 in gas for a weapon that we know Iran don't have at all, that they were never going towards, and because you went out of the JCPOA, that they're on fast track towards because of that, and our constant aggression towards them. So a lot of Americans aren't hearing that argument when you sit there and say that, oh, well, Iran can have a nuclear weapon, so F your affordability. I'm sorry, but when people look at history and they see that, well, Obama was able to take care of Iran without raising inflation and gas prices. So why couldn't you do it like him? And you want to call yourself a better politician than Obama, but it seems like Obama had you beat when it came to dealing with Iran, because he didn't raise gas prices, he didn't raise inflations, and he was able to get the enriched uranium out of Iran and get them to commit the 3.6% enrichment. That's why the Republicans got to sell all these lies about the JCPOA, because in actuality, Obama did get everything we needed out of that deal. Period, point blank.
Do you agree with the president that he shouldn't be taking Americans' financial situation into account when dealing with Iran?
That's his Churchill moment. When Churchill came into power, he promised blood, sweat, toil, heartache until we deal with the Nazis, who are an existential threat to the British way of life. And if Hitler had taken charge of the planet, it would have been the darkest hour in humanity. I believe Iran wants a nuclear weapon. They would use it. So does President Trump. They would use it as part of their religious agenda. They would destroy.
No, they wouldn't. If Iran had a weapon, we're just going to leave them alone. And then here's the thing. They try to sell this fear of Muslims, like, well, they're going to use it for their religious agenda. Bro, it was their religious agenda, was the whole reason why they didn't have one in the first place. Because they did a religious fatwa or fetwa, however you want to pronounce it. They did a religious law that said it is a sin to have a nuclear weapon. So to sit there and say, oh, their political ideology, when it's their political ideology that kept them away from a nuke, is crazy.
The Jewish state, they would eventually hold us hostage. So his audience, the Iranian regime, do I worry about gas prices? Yes. But President Trump's right. The biggest threat to the stability in the world is a nuclear-armed Iran, and whatever price we have to pay, we will pay. What did Churchill say? Whatever price we have to pay to beat Hitler, we will pay. Same with Iran. The good news, we're inside the 10-yard line. I think if we go back to military activity, weaken them further, then we can end this thing pretty soon.
Senator, you take me to my next question, because 70% of Americans in a new poll say President Trump is doing a bad job on the economy, the number one issue for voters, as you know. Bottom line, is it worth losing the midterms if the result is a non-nuclear Iran?
It's worth losing my job.
Damn. Hey, yo. Nah, he just said it out loud like that. He says, look, I don't even care if we lose the midterms. I don't care if the Republicans are unelectable no more. As long as we did Israel that great service of destabilizing Iran, I don't even care if I'm not even a senator no more. Do you understand their thinking now? Do you understand it? They're crashing out for Israel. Bro don't even care about America. He don't even care about his position as senator, as long as Israel gets to destabilize Iran that they've been asking for decades. For decades. As long as they get that, bro don't even care if the Republican Party burn. He don't even care if he burns in the process. All beat Israel.
If I had to give my job up to make sure Iran would never have a nuclear weapon,
literally,
I would do it.
Would you give up the house?
A literal ride or die. Little ride or die for Israel. That is insane. Bro literally sat there and said, she asked him straight up. So, if you get everything you want, are you okay with that costing you, your seat, the Republicans, the midterms? That man was like, lady, I'll lose my job today. What? He's like, I'll lose my job today if it means Iran's destabilized. It means that we just knock out the regime. Shoot, I don't care if the Republicans lose the midterms. I don't care, bro. I'll lose my job as long as we get what we want out of Iran. As long as Israel gets what they want out of Iran. Man.
I would give up politically. The most important thing I can do with the job I've been given is to protect the American people. Now, you don't have to agree with me, but I've been this way for 20 years. I believe there are religious Nazis in Iran, If they had a nuclear weapon, they would use it. They've been trying to get one. They've been cheating. Obama and Biden.
Bro, I'm sorry, but if we want to talk about religious Nazis, you know what? Should I talk about this since I'm shadow banned? I mean, F it. What else can they do? Shadow ban me deeper? But bro, what about the religious extremists in Israel that believes in destroying the third temple, sacrificing cows, and removing Arabs from their land? What about that? Since you want to talk about religious extremism, and here's the thing is they're committed to it. Iran has not invaded nobody, has not kicked nobody out of their land. Israel has on multiple times in multiple countries. So we want to talk at all on the guidelines of religion. So we want to talk about religious extremism and Nazis. Well, what about what Israel's doing with the Palestinians? Putting them in open concentration camps, fenced off highways. They can't even use the same highways. Is that segregated? But they're the Nazi regime. Are you sure, bro?
Were jokes when it came to containing Iran. Trump is doing something people should have done a long time ago. But here's the good news. Gas prices will come down when you put Iran in a box. Saudi-Israel peace will become possible when you put Iran in a box. The upside of dealing with Iran is...
But we could put Iran in a box today, and we won't see the relief in gas prices for some years. Thanks a lot, Trump. Thanks a lot.
Enormously good, but you got to deal with them.
Senator, let me ask you about the news overnight. Senator Bill Cassidy losing his primary in Louisiana. You worked closely with Senator Bill Cassidy on a range of different issues, including a plan to replace Obamacare. He, of course, voted to convict President Trump back in 2021 in the impeachment trial. Now he's lost his seat. Are you glad that Senator Cassidy is no longer going to be your colleague, Senator?
No, I like Bill. I thought he's a great senator, but he made a political decision. He voted to impeach President Trump, which would have ruined his political life. He could never run for office again.
You was in support of it. This is what I'm saying, bro. It's the bullshit. It's like just because you kissing Trump's ass now, dog, you were a never Trumper. You were in support of getting this guy gone. Now, because he's doing what you want, for basically working, I mean, shilling for Israel almost as hard as you are. Now you love him. Now it's okay for him to do what he's doing right now. Like, oh my God, bro, you're one of the first never Trumpers.
Massey's on the ballot Tuesday. He votes against Trump all the time. What's the headline? Trump strong. Those who try to destroy Trump politically, stand in the way of his agenda, are going to lose. Bill made a decision. What would LBJ do? Is it natural for a politician to go after people who try to destroy their political life? So Bill Cassidy's lost because he tried to destroy Trump. Massey's going to lose because he's trying to destroy the agenda. You can disagree with President Trump.
He's trying to destroy the Israel first agenda. Yeah, that's what you're coming after him for. Because he's actually putting Americans first, putting American taxpayers, American lives, putting us first. And while you're over here putting Israel's interests above our own. Yeah, that's why you're going after him, because he's going after the Israel first agenda. He's exposing the Israel first agenda. So don't pretend like it's about him going against Donald Trump's policy. No, it's about him going against the Israel first agenda. And you've always wanted to go against Thomas Massey because of his stances against Israel and because of the fact that he don't accept AIPAC money like yo ass do.
You try to destroy him, you're going to lose because this is the party of Donald Trump.
Very quickly, does his defeat send a message, if this is the party of Donald Trump, that there's no room in the party to break with President Trump?
No, I just talked to him a few minutes ago. We have a difference.
President Trump,
just a few minutes ago. There's no room in this party to destroy his agenda or to destroy him and his family as a Republican. Democrats do it all the time. If you align with Democrats to stop his agenda like Massey does, you're going to lose. If you align with Democrats to drive him out of office like Cassidy did, you're going to lose. I disagree with Trump on President Trump on occasion. He endorsed me. It's been enormously helpful to me. Thank you, President Trump, for endorsing me. It's helped me in my primary. It's just a reality, and it's a good reality. I think President Trump's doing a hell of a good job. And if you try to destroy him, you're going to get destroyed. That's the takeaway.
All right, Senator Lindsey Graham, thank you so much for being here in person.
AKA, you cannot challenge Trump in any way, shape, or form, or you are gone. Because Thomas Massey didn't even vote to get that man impeached. He just said, yo, I disagree with you on a couple points here. And he's like, oh, well, yeah, you need to lose your seat over that. I'm like, whoa. That kind of proves the Dems' point on, there's no checking Donald Trump. I hope you guys know this, like through your rash actions.
to discuss a very busy week. We really appreciate it. When we come back, Democratic Senator Chris